Las Vegas showgirls, once the glittering symbol of entertainment excess, are now facing extinction faster than polar bears, with only 2% of the original shows still running, compared to Vegas's golden age. Today we're exploring a film that captures this vanishing world in all its rhinestoned glory.
That decline really hits home in this story about Shelley, a 57-year-old performer still holding on to her place in the razzle-dazzle. It's fascinating how they chose Pamela Anderson for this role.
You know what's remarkable about Anderson's performance? She brings such authenticity to Shelley. Here's someone who, like Anderson herself, has navigated the complex waters of being both celebrated and dismissed by the entertainment industry.
The parallel between actor and character adds this whole meta layer to the story, doesn't it? Both women dealing with how society views aging performers.
And speaking of authenticity, the film doesn't shy away from showing the harsh realities. The average career span of a Vegas showgirl used to be 15 years, but Shelley's been at it for nearly 3 decades. That's like being a professional athlete well into their 50s.
That physical toll must be enormous. How do they address that aspect in the film?
Well, they weave it throughout, from the way Shelley moves in the morning to those quiet moments in the dressing room. But what's really interesting is how they contrast her with Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Annette, who left the show 6 years ago to become a cocktail waitress.
That's such a clever way to show the different paths these women take when the spotlight starts to dim.
The relationship between Shelley and her daughter Hannah really drives home the personal cost. You know, studies show that nearly 60% of entertainment industry professionals report significant strain on family relationships. And we see that play out in their strained dynamic.
The way they handle that mother-daughter relationship feels so raw and honest. It's not just about career choices, but the ripple effects those decisions have across generations.
Dave Bautista's character Eddie adds another fascinating layer, this gentle giant who manages the show. The way they handle their unspoken history reminds me of those classic Hollywood romances, but with a much grittier, more realistic edge.
And the technical aspects really reinforce that gritty realism, don't they? The cinematography makes Vegas look so different from what we usually see.
Right? Autumn Durald Arkapaw shot this right after doing Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and she brings this incredible eye for showing the wear beneath the glamour. It's like seeing Vegas through a cracked mirror. Still beautiful, but definitely broken.
The music choices are particularly striking, too. Andrew Wyatt's original numbers somehow managed to bridge that gap between classic Vegas and contemporary entertainment.
You know what's fascinating? The film captures this massive shift in Vegas entertainment. Since 2000, traditional showgirl productions have been replaced by Cirque du Soleil-style shows at a rate of about 1 per year. It's like watching an entire ecosystem collapse in slow motion.
That really comes through in how they portray the younger characters. Kiernan Shipka's naive 19-year-old Jodie versus Brenda Song's more pragmatic Mary Ann.
And what makes this story so universal is how it taps into that fear of obsolescence. Whether you're a showgirl or a factory worker or even a podcast host, everyone can relate to wondering if their skills will still matter tomorrow.
The way they balance all these elements, personal drama, cultural shift, relationships, it never feels heavy-handed or melodramatic.
That's what makes this film so powerful. It's showing us the end of an era through such an intimate lens. When Shelley says she won't do what she calls the bump and grind of new shows, it's about more than just dancing. It's about maintaining dignity in a world that's moving on without you.
So what do you think this film tells us about the future of entertainment?
Well, it's really a warning about how quickly cultural institutions can vanish. In the same way that silent film stars had to adapt to talkies, or vaudeville performers had to transition to radio, we're watching another entertainment evolution in real time. The question isn't just about showgirls. It's about how we preserve art forms while still embracing progress.
That's such a thoughtful way to look at it. It's not just mourning what's lost, but questioning what we're gaining or losing in the process.
And that's ultimately what makes The Last Showgirl so compelling. It's not just about the death of a show. It's about the human cost of progress. Sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones that show us what we're leaving behind as we rush toward the future.
You've been listening to Movies First.
Available at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or your favourite podcast player. You can also stream on demand at Bytes.com.
This has been another quality podcast production from Bytes.com.